I consider DNA to be a parasite, not entirely unlike Toxoplasma gondii. It sort of hijacks the minds of its hosts and nudges them toward reproduction. It's a strange way to look at biology, but it starts to make a certain kind of sense. We usually think of DNA as, you know, a blueprint of life. But if you look at it differently, it begins to feel more like something self-serving, something that just wants to keep going. DNA doesn't really care about happiness or meaning or even long-term survival, except where those things help it replicate. If a trait helps reproduction, even if it brings suffering or a shorter life, then, in a way, DNA still wins. And then there's this idea of behavioral influence, kind of like how certain parasites can alter the behavior of their hosts. DNA works through deeper drives: hunger, desire, fear, attachment. These aren't random. They're, you know, finely tuned pressures, pushing life to continue. So the organism becomes more like a vehicle, a temporary form, carrying something forward. This connects to the idea of the selfish gene, where life isn't really about purpose, but about replication, happening again and again. Even inside the genome, there are sequences that behave almost parasitically. They copy themselves, move around, sometimes doing nothing useful, sometimes even causing harm. But still, they persist. Now, of course, there's another side to this. DNA isn't exactly an external parasite. It's not something that invades from the outside. It's part of the organism itself. The host and the DNA, they share the same fate. They begin together and they end together. So, maybe it's not purely parasitic and not purely symbiotic either. It's something in between, or maybe something else entirely. A system where control is unclear, where the idea of a separate self starts to blur, and what remains is just continuation.